Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Game on Cloud 9 here, and I'm here to bring you guys a new Naruto manga 626 prediction. Okay, guys. Now, before I get to my prediction, I just have to say this week's chapter of Naruto definitely did make a step up to me in the right direction. Involving the Hashirama flashback. Not saying the flashback was bad, because I have been enjoying the flashback somewhat, since we've been going through it. But I like the fact that in this week's chapter we actually had a few things that were mentioned to us that to me, actually really matter because they involve the actual foundation of Konoha, the basic things such as okay, when people were deciding who was going to be Hokage, how exactly did that go, and what did Hashirama and Madara think when all that was going on? Who actually came up with the name for Konoha? Little things like that. And some of you may not care about that, but I feel as though with the story, most of it taking place, of course, in Konoha with the main characters living in Konoha, that's pretty interesting to know and pretty fundamental to, for us as the fans to be able to get little facts like that. So definitely actually enjoyed seeing that part of the chapter. And I also enjoyed, of course, more Madara and Hashirama interaction on more of a friendlier note because the chapter, of course, it didn't start off on that way because we see Hashirama and Madara, of course, like Madara's trying, or Hashirama's trying to think of the ultimatum that Madara gave him, like, okay, what do I do? And then he decided, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and kill myself. And he was actually straight up for real. Like, you actually see him, take off the armor. He pulls out a kunai. He's getting ready to stab himself. And right before he does that, obviously, Madara stops him, and that was basically a test to see whether or not if Hashirama really meant what he said. Which Hashirama, of course, you could tell, he had the tear down his eye, come down his eye, all that. Like he definitely was dead on serious about what he did. He even left his final words to Tobirama before he went ahead and did that and said, hey, I don't want any Senju Uchiha fighting, which to me, is really cool because when I see chapters like this and see certain scenes like this in Naruto where you see characters go through all this and in the name of peace, some people may say, oh, it's it's retarded, it's stupid. And I'm not recommending people just go out and do stuff like that, but I mean, I definitely think that like it would be cool if people in real life actually strived this hard or extremely hard to be able to achieve peace where they were willing to actually do self-sacrifice. And I'm not talking about necessarily always in the form of somebody killing themselves or something like that. So I don't want anybody to think I'm saying that. But, give up something, in return just to be able to have peace. And I feel like now in society's mentality, people kind of aren't willing to give up anything in order to be able to settle a problem. People are really selfish. I'm not saying that there aren't people out there who are willing to give up whatever they have, but I feel as though when you see chapters of Naruto and just Naruto in general, people wonder why I like it a lot. It's because you have these ideals of self-sacrifice, people striving hard towards their goals, and whether or not you guys think it's the truth or not, I feel as though it's something that people should aim towards and try to do. But I know that's besides the point. I went off in another tangent that could be an entire video within itself, but I definitely think this part of the chapter to me kind of stood out a little bit. And then, of course, we finally see they decided to go ahead and find Konoha, the Senju Uchiha. They shook hands, and the Hidden Leaf was born. And we see, of course, they already pretty much built up the town right where the mountain where it's eventually going to become the Hokage monument statue is at. They're standing on top of it, basically talking about the ideas what they're going to name Kona or name or what will become Konoha. And it's kind of cool the fact that Madara actually came up with the ideal for Konoha. And you even see little symbolism there when he picks up the leaf and he looks through the leaf and he's talking about the village hidden in the leaves, so it's like he's hiding behind a leaf in a way, in a sense. I don't know, I thought that was pretty cool. I actually always thought that the ideal from the hidden leaf came from Hashirama's Mokoton, but apparently not. Apparently something Madara just came up with on the fly. And of course Hashirama's response to that is his typical response. And again, that was pretty much seeing their friendly interactions with each other because like Madara remembers how Hashirama was, and even says around this time pretty much they start rekindling their friendship, and truly start to become friends once again. And it was even nice to hear Hashirama, of course, talk about everybody in the village. I want you to think of them like your sibling, and I want you to be the Hokage, and I thought about that. I was just like, I wonder how Madara really would have been if he would have been Hokage. I mean, I'm not too sure, only because at that point Izuna died, so we don't know if maybe he would have went on a rampage, did some crazy things, or kind of forced his will on others. Although I'm kind of a bit skeptical right now, and I'm kind of wondering if there's a plot hole. And let me tell you why. And I'm like, you guys know, those of you who've been watching my videos for a long time know I'm not one to run off and say everything's a plot hole, call this and that a plot hole. But we don't, like, from the time that we see, of course, Hashirama and Madara trying to find Konoha. And then the time that we see, of course, at the end of the chapter, after Tobirama and Hashirama talk about who's going to become Hokage, and Tobirama talks about, oh, like the village isn't going to pick, Madara, they're going to end up picking you, and of course, we see Hashirama become Hokage, and they're down in the basement. From that time, how much time exactly passed? Because we do know that there's a flashback with Onoki, like Madara and Onoki or whatever, and Madara actually ends up taking down, of course, Onoki and the second Hokage. But at that time, he had a Konoha headband on, and he was trying to tell people to bow down to the hidden leaf. So to me, it's a little bit weird because right now, at this point, it seems like Madara is already leaving Konoha when we see Hashiram and him down in the basement of Konoha, or down in the basement of the Uchiha shrine, and we see them at the stone tablet. And of course, Madara goes on and on about the Uchiha, and I can understand exactly where why Madara would feel the way he actually does, because he's saying he can't trust Tobirama, because Tobirama, to me, really has the biggest issue with Uchiha. To me, Tobirama is the huge problem. People may say, oh, Tobirama's just realist, he just thinks this way or that way, and I'm not saying he doesn't have some real ways, but to me, Tobirama is the hatred of the Senju clan. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't have, a certain, he can't feel a certain way, or he doesn't have, a justified reason in terms of, disliking, maybe people who hurt his own brothers or killed his own brothers, but at the same time, he, I'm not gonna say won't let it go, because I hate using the word let it go, but it's almost like, to me, he won't move on, because he's even buying into rumors about the Uchiha, trying to keep his eye on him, even after there's been peace, even after the Uchiha have already decided to join up with the Senju. He's still on this whole skeptical idea. He's just like Izuna was right before he died, telling Madara, don't do this, don't do this. And to me, they represent the hatred of the both clans, rather than the leaders themselves. But yeah, back to the whole Madara and Onoki thing. Yeah, I'm kind of confused about that, because at the end of this week's chapter, of course, once Madara decides, what, I like, my clan is turned on me. I don't really trust everything that's going on. I'm gonna go ahead and find my own resolve. And he talks about what's on the stone tablet, and he basically tells Hashirama that he's going for his jugular next time they see each other, and he's going on his own path. So I'm wondering, okay, where in this did Onoki and Madara meet up? I'm not saying that everything has to be shown at in this chapter, but it's just a little bit confusing, because it almost seems like it was more of a, I'm not gonna say immediate thing, but I don't know, the flow of it to me was a little bit off towards the end of this week's chapter. But other than that, I mean, I didn't really have a huge problem with this week's chapter. I did really enjoy it, definitely. That's just something I kind of just thought of. I felt like, I hope Kishimoto kind of clarifies. That's one thing, if I had to say there's a problem with Naruto, is that sometimes the timeline, I'm not going to say it's completely messed up, but it would be a nice thing if Kishimoto actually went ahead and gave us like little indicators telling us when exactly something happened, like an actual, maybe I'm not saying like a straight up date, but kind of just said it happened such and such years before this particular event or something like that. If I don't know if you guys get what I mean, but that's pretty much what I'm asking for. Just some kind of date, so that we can kind of indicate where something is, or where something could have happened. That way we have a better understanding of the story itself. So, when certain events took place. Now, as far as my prediction goes, because I've spent like over 9 minutes now just reviewing the chapter, I definitely have to say what I expect, or what I'm looking forward to, is actually when how Edo Tensei actually comes into play in the future chapters, because we know with Edo Tensei, Madara knows a lot about it. He knows the purpose in which it's been created, because he stated this right when he actually fought the Alliance. Like, I think the second chapter, he made his debut, and he jumped down and started using the fire style jutsu and all that. No, it wasn't that. when he started using, I think it was like when he brought down the meteorites, he explained the whole purpose of Edo Tensei. Not only that, but he even knows how to break out of it, and knows why the second Hokage created it. So I don't know. I mean, there has to be a lot of reason for why Adult Tensei was created. I don't know if maybe he made it for like the second made it for Hashirama, because we still don't know exactly how Hashirama went down. So we don't know. Maybe he tried to bring him back, and maybe it didn't turn out the way he wanted it to. If maybe Tobirama is just that kind of dark dude. Maybe he brought back some Uchihas or something because he felt as though he wanted to use them as bargaining chips to keep the clan in check. I don't know, something along those lines. I'm definitely thinking that maybe next chapter, maybe towards the middle, we'll probably actually go back to the fight with Hashirama and Madara in the Valley of the End. I know a lot of people are wondering where Mito Uzumaki actually is in all these flashbacks, saying where's the Uzumaki clan, because in this week's chapter we also found out that the Sarutobi clan as well as the Shimura clan, which is Danzo's clan, are getting ready to try to join up with Konoha. So you see other villages start coming in. But I think if people don't actually remember, the Uzumaki clan were in their own village. They were never actually a part of Konoha. They had a close bond with Konoha. They were like, in a sense, like, I don't know if you say like neighboring village, or not neighboring villages, but kind of like like a sister village in a way. But they never were actually officially a part of Konoha. Kushina, she actually, like, you even, I think they even said with Minato and Kushina talked about how she ended up losing her own village and had, of course she came to Konoha or whatever. So I mean, they had their own village. Yes, the Senju and Uchiha are related, but they never did the Uzumaki clan like straight up just move to Konoha and reside in Konoha. I think that's a little bit of a misunderstanding, between some, or some of you guys probably kind of missed or misunderstood on the chapters. But other than that, yeah, I do expect that we see more of the Valley of the End fight probably next chapter, maybe towards the middle, because obviously there has to be some, you know, fill in, like something to fill in between that, because I don't think it's going to be an instantaneous thing right after Madara leaves the lair that we're all of a sudden heading off to see back at the Valley of the End fight. I do think the chapter after that, however, we may end up finally going back to the present and finally hearing what Sasuke has to say about all that Hashirama said. And hopefully Kishimoto doesn't have him just take like a total 180, because I definitely would not like that, because I definitely do want to see Sasuke at least do something. I'm not gonna say bad, but I mean, if he's been built up to be doing all these crazy things or getting ready to do something really big for the longest amount of time, and to me it would be a huge disappointment for his character to just sit up there and say, you know what, I'm not destroying Konoha, even though I've been talking about for the past 100 chapters that I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm like, even if you don't do that, I'm like, do something big. I don't know, but that's pretty much it, guys. So let me know what you thought about this week's chapter. I know. Oh yeah, I got to do my rating. In case you don't know my rating, I'm gonna go sit it down below, like sit the rating system down below, just so everybody knows. I know I keep saying this like in past couple videos, but just until everybody gets familiar with it, I'm just gonna keep letting everybody know the rating system is as follows. Academy level means like a horrible chapter. Like, I don't know why Kishimoto made this. Genin level would be like, oh, it was an okay chapter. Chunin level would be, yeah, it was just a solid good chapter. Jonin level, pretty good chapter, like really good. And then I think Kage level I said was like really good. I know I wrote it down somewhere. Really, really good. And I think no, it was extremely good. And then like above Kage level would be like an extraordinary chapter. Like I was just surprised. I mean, this chapter really didn't have anything wrong with it. And then I think, oh yeah, the Sage of the Six Paths level chapter. That would mean like this chapter to me, like as far as artwork wise, as far as storytelling wise, as far as like if there's any fighting in there, everything was on point. And not only that, but it was just a memorable chapter, like Neji's death or something like that. That would be like a Sage of the Six Paths level chapter to me. So pretty much the rating will be for this week. I'm gonna say this definitely was a Jonin level chapter. I thought it was, pretty good. Didn't really have many problems. The artwork definitely was a step up from previous weeks. The only problem is that there may have been a possible plot hole. And again, y'all know I'm not all about plot holes. Y'all know that, yeah. Like, cause I definitely don't think that the plot is like Swiss cheese, like a lot of y'all out there think. But yeah, I definitely think there may be a possible plot hole. But other than that, everything to me was pretty good about this chapter. The flow was pretty nice, and things for the most part made a lot of sense. And seeing Madara's turn into the darkness definitely to me made a lot of sense with the whole relation with brothers. And it wasn't something that just popped up, of course, in the course of these flashbacks. Madara's brother's been mentioned previous times in other flashbacks by other characters, so we definitely do see that, Izuna, of course, was somebody very important to him. Thus, losing Izuna and then, of course, losing his clan on top of that, of them turning on him, it definitely, to me, shows that Madara at this point, pretty much didn't really have much else to lose. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to rate this video. So if you liked it, please put a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, you can put a thumbs down if you want to. The choice is yours. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. And thank you for watching.